Brian's in Wyoming. You're on Free Talk Live. Hey, Brian.
Yeah, hi.
Hey.
Just one thing I think that some of the people, like maybe Tom before, people were kind of missing is one solution that solves everything is the non-aggression principle.
That's it. Yep. Called the zero aggression principle.
Yeah, for those who don't understand what it is, it's just basically, you don't mess with my rights, I don't mess with your rights. And I just wanted to comment real quick on how that could be applied to almost all the topics that Ian just listed off, like such as, let's say, borders. The non-aggression principle could be applied there. First of all, just stop giving the people welfare to come over here.
Right.
So,
I think that's the biggest solution. If many of the problems that come with people moving here for a better life is hey, well, we got to give them this free stuff. Well, you've got a welfare problem. You don't have an immigration problem.
Yeah, but in the war on drugs, which is, in direct violation of the non-aggression principle, right?
And the war on drugs causes where they live to be inhospitable. People don't want to take responsibility for the war on drugs. The United States government has prosecuted throughout the Western Hemisphere. It's like, well, I have no idea why this is happening. Why are these people coming here? Their villages are on fire. They can't have any good, they can't build any lives for themselves.
Yeah, well, exactly. And then just to jump to another, quick thing is like driving 90 miles an hour through a suburban neighborhood. That's in direct violation of the non-aggression principle because you're aggressing on not only people trying to cross the street, but their kids and all that. So, that's
well, I wouldn't say driving fast is a violation of the non-aggression principle because you can still drive fast and drive safely, and it's also up to the kids to learn to look both ways before they cross the damn street. I think parents need to teach their kids and or keep an eye on them if they're too young to learn that particular rule.
But I think residential areas would probably have speed limits up.
Private property owners could certainly have the ability to put up a speed limit and put in speed tables or bumps or whatever enforcement they felt were necessary to curb the speeds through the neighborhood. Don't make it a through street either, and then it's far less likely that you're going to have people doing that stuff.
I live on a major road here in New Hampshire. They don't slow the cars down below 55 miles an hour for my house because I have a 6-year-old.
Yeah. So there you go. I don't think it's aggression, but it could be a property rights violation to go that fast.
Yeah, but somebody is violating that if they're doing that through a place where they know, that kids could possibly be in danger. So
I would agree.
I kind of see that as you kind of are aggressing on somebody. I mean, if you're out on the highway and, you're driving 90, 100, I've lived in Montana before where they just recently actually made speed limits on
yeah, what a shame.
And actually in Montana, the accidents went up once they actually applied speed limits.
It's true.
To the roadways.
Human freedom works.
Yeah.
It's counterintuitive
exactly.
in many ways. I mean, isn't it surprising that accidents would go up when they put speed limits in place?
How about those crazy videos? I don't know if y'all have seen these, but I've seen a couple of them online. I don't know what country they're coming out of, but some country where there's like this huge intersection and no traffic lights or control devices whatsoever, and you just watch as these cars manage to make it through there and without causing a single accident. It looks like crazy chaos, but it's really this organized, almost a self-organizing system.
Well, I think traffic circles are, to me, it's a step up. A lot of people don't like them at all, but I'm
not talking about a traffic circle. I just mean an open intersection with people just coming into it.
Mark's really right. They put those in a few areas that I've lived, and it actually decreased accidents, and you actually don't.
I don't know if they decrease accidents.
Slow down, but
have you seen an accident on a traffic circle?
I've heard they happen quite often.
Yeah, the traffic circles for the four ways.
I've heard they happen quite often because people don't know how to use them, and they get confused, and they don't know which lane to turn out of or turn into, and that kind of stuff.
I think they've been awesome.
I like them. They work very well. I'm not saying they're worse than stoplights.
If you can't figure out a traffic circle, maybe you shouldn't be operating a motor vehicle.
I'm with you.
A 1.5-ton death machine.
There's a lot of people who shouldn't be operating motor vehicles.
Indeed,
who are
but the
operating
government
them.
licenses them.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. As long as you can fog a mirror, you can pretty much drive a car.
Well, you have to be able to find the mirror.
Yeah, but then again, if the traffic circle's not working and the accidents goes up, then somebody's going to turn around and say, okay, this solution isn't working at this intersection, so let's try something else. That's the free market.
Hey, Brian, I see you're in Wyoming. How's that Free State Wyoming thing working out?
I am not a member. I'm a big fan of Michael Dean, but as you know, Wyoming is like the most sparsely populated. There's nobody in Wyoming. I mean, if you've ever driven through Wyoming,
I have.
You just drive and drive and drive and drive, and there's like nobody there. So.
But there's this movement.
I'm not
supposedly.
a member of that. I would probably join the Free State Project and tried to talk my wife into considering New
So
Hampshire.
you'd consider. So basically, what you're saying is living in Wyoming. And how long have you lived there?
On and off, I've traveled, lived in different places through the country, but for 4 years and then 2 years.
So for several years, you've been living in Wyoming throughout the time in which the Free State Wyoming people have allegedly been there, and they have been so without impact that you are actually considering, if you're going to do anything, moving to New Hampshire.
Well, because New Hampshire is a smaller place where, as you guys always say, you can make more impact. I mean, Wyoming's definitely got, and the close neighbor. I live in northern Wyoming, and the close neighbor Montana. I mean, they definitely the real groups are like the militias, which you can kind of agree with, and they do good things and they do bad things, but that's where the organization really happens, in these kind of states up here.
So it's your understanding then that the people who've moved for the Free State Wyoming are really having no impact. You're not hearing any news about them. They're not getting elected. There's like nothing happening, right?
No, I would say, yeah. I'd say you're absolutely right. I mean, they are organizing, but it's kind of more like a Armageddon sort of thing. The communities do get together, though. That is one thing that you really see up here is the communities get together, they organize.
What does that mean, though, when you say they organize?
Barbecues.
What's that?
Barbecues.
They're organizing barbecues.
Well, yeah, that might be them, but the communities, do really organize up here.
I don't know what that means, though. When you say that they organize, what does that mean? Does it mean they do something, or are they
talking about doing something?
Well, it means organizing more on a community level, where you shop locally. You visit. Instead of buying from Walmarts, which those things that don't really hardly exist around here.
Mm-hmm.
You buy from local farmers, local farmer markets, and all that. And I know that exists in New Hampshire.
Yep.
New Hampshire's the number 3 on the list of what they call localvore states. Isn't it Vermont number 1, Maine number 2, and New Hampshire number 3?
Yeah. This area of Arcadia.
Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Brian. I appreciate hearing from you. And of course, we're talking about the idea of the Free State Project. Free State Wyoming.
Also, crime is significantly lower in that particular 3-state area because communities created.
Free State Wyoming was a competitor to the Free State Project, and it's never really gone anywhere of any significance. And it's always what I hear. There was actually one guy who came to visit New Hampshire who lived in Wyoming for 7 years. He'd moved there for Free State Wyoming, and he left after 7 years, not really, nothing's happening. But here in New Hampshire, there's more happening than you can possibly be involved with if you are a liberty activist. So check out freestateproject.org, and we'll continue with more Free Talk Live coming up.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.